Welcome back to our podcast, Better Together from Never to Forever. This is episode number 2, and I'm Brent.
And I'm Marlene.
And today we're going to be talking about what we learned from the first marriage, why the second relationship feels different, misconceptions about remarriage, and how we're integrating our lives. So let's start with the first one. So, what we learned from the first marriage. What'd you learn, babe?
I learned to maintain my individuality, right? So I think I plugged myself into one person so much that I lost who I was. So things I loved to do, how I felt about certain things, things I liked, just myself in general, I lost it. I was so plugged into him and my family that I forgot about me.
And it's super important. You start losing that piece of yourself. That's that person that, when you're married in any relationship, right? That person falls in love with you in the beginning. And if you start to lose yourself, you're essentially losing that person that the other person fell in love with,
Hmm.
including yourself, right?
Yeah.
You start to lose yourself, you start to lose a little bit of love for yourself. So I think it's definitely super important to maintain individuality. Honestly, I know I did the same exact thing. I really stopped doing all my hobbies. I stopped going out, stopped, even little things like going to the gym. I just was barely there. I wasn't motivated for it, you
Yeah, I
know?
can say that I stopped making time for friends. Like when I did, it was we were together, so it was always just me and friends and him. So it wasn't just me. Like I didn't have time to spend time with my girlfriends or anything like that because we were always together. We never did things separate, and it's truly important to do things separately. Have time for yourself and with other people because that's important. It's important to keep that part of yourself.
100%, right? Because you're going to maintain those relationships with your friends, but on top of that, you have that space from your significant other, right?
Yeah.
Like you guys talk through the day, you're always communicating, you're always on the same page, you're going out and doing activities together. But when you maintain that relationship with your other friends, now you're getting other conversations, right? You're kind of expanding your horizon, but you're maintaining yourself, your individuality. But then it also gives you, if you want, talking points to take back to your
Mhm.
spouse, to your partner, right? And
100%.
mix it up. You're like, hey, my friend is having this situation,
Mhm.
as long as it's okay with your friend, of course,
To speak freely to
of course,
your significant other, yeah.
definitely don't want to cross that boundary.
No. I mean, because friends have boundaries too, right? Like, we
Of
gotta
course.
keep that relationship cordial too. It's not just with our partner, it's also with our friends. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we don't want to go telling everybody's story to
mhm.
everybody, but absolutely, it's about maintaining that piece of yourself with your friends, with your family, and mostly with yourself.
Family too. I mean, family we put in there, right? Like, making time for your family to do those things with your family, go out with your family, have those little family moments without your partner too. Like that's important too. They
That's
need to feel like they're important too. Like and you're not always just with your partner.
100%, 100%. You know, another thing too for us, right, is it's time to ourselves.
Yeah.
It, unfortunately, yeah, the divorce was hard and it hurt, but I think we've really come to value that time for ourselves.
Hmm.
Kids, spouse, just life, right? Work,
Yeah.
all the other things responsibilities that we have to deal with. But taking that time and making sure that we have the time for ourselves has been so important. Obviously, we both love our kids,
Yeah.
but taking that time away from the kids, especially, obviously when you're divorced, right? You have shared custody, but taking that time to just really focus on us, it definitely has helped our relationship.
Yeah. So how do you feel that when before we met, how did you make time for you after the divorce?
I mean, right after it was really hard, right?
Hmm.
Like I basically crawled into a little ball and didn't want to do anything. It wasn't until a few months where then I started realizing, okay, I need to get out. And honestly, it started with as simple as just going out for a walk,
Hmm.
and it was a little weird at first. I felt socially awkward, almost like I didn't know how to connect to people all over again.
Yeah.
So it was definitely weird, but once I kind of started getting into the rhythm, it was hard being away from my kids, but once I started getting into that rhythm of getting out, okay, let me try some new hobbies, or honestly, even some of the stuff that I liked before, right? Like I jumped back on a motorcycle and I started going back down to the beach a lot more. I got myself a skateboard. To an extent, I felt like a kid again,
Yeah.
but it was fun. It was so much fun.
Super fun. Super fun finding yourself again. Truly. I took my time to be at the beach or just taking walks, like you said. But yeah, hard. It was hard to let the kids go when it was time for them to go. I was like, I'm sitting here and I'm bored. But to go out and do something, to force myself to go out and do something, that was the struggle. I'm like, well, what do I do with myself? Like I said, I lost that piece of myself when I was with him. So I'm like, what do I like? How can I take time for me? So the beach was my outlet. I loved going to the beach by myself all day, just walking around. Kids didn't want to go. If they did, it was, yeah, they were all over the place. But I definitely loved to just be there by myself, night walks. It was good to feel that part of me, to feel myself all over again.
And I think that's so powerful, right? Like getting back to that individuality, right? We forget who we are because we're so in tune with the relationship, which is great, but you've got to keep that part of you. And sometimes it's hard, right? You're kind of getting back to, okay, what are the things that I like to do? But here we are 10, 20, 30 years later. Who am I? I'm a
Mhm.
very different person.
Yeah.
So these are what I used to like to do. Do I still like to do those or do I like new things? And that's why I think it was so important, at least for me, to get out and try the things that I used to like,
Mm-hmm.
but also now I have a list of things that I want to try.
Yeah.
And so I've been knocking them out one by one.
And you've been introducing me to many things that I've never tried. And it was just kids, 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 husband, 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 family all the time. Go, go, go.
Yeah.
So, and I absolutely love it. Like, I love being out.
And we've actually done a lot.
We have.
We've done a lot of cool stuff, even things that I've never done. So it's been a blast. 100%.
It has been.
Yeah. And that, I mean, really, because we've taken the time as a couple away from the kids, which again, my time is away from my kids, but because we've had that time to really connect,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this has just crushed our communication. We have gotten so good at communicating as a couple. It's been so powerful for, I know, both of us,
Yeah.
but me, right? Like I've learned how to talk to my kids so much better. I've learned how to talk to my family members so much better. I've even learned how to talk to myself so much
Mm-hmm.
better. And what I mean by that is I'm not afraid to say things,
Mm-hmm.
right? I'm more honest with myself.
Oh, we know you're not afraid to say things.
I mean, but even to like the ex, right? Like
Yeah.
I think sometimes we may not want to strike up any confrontation,
Mm-hmm.
but because our communication has evolved so well that I've really learned how to say things better.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, think about how to say them,
Yeah.
but really just say them so much better that I can communicate to my ex and not start any conflict, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially in a situation where maybe this would be a little touchy subject.
Yeah.
But because we've worked so hard on communicating, it's helped your girls, helped my boys. I mean, it's just helped how I talk to my friends and
Yeah.
just everyday relationships.
Yeah, definitely. Like even with my coworkers, like it's taught me how to talk to them better. My management team, like definitely having a better conversation with people now than I've ever did. Because conversation wasn't a thing. It wasn't. It was like a taboo in my relationship. Like, no, we don't talk.
Which is terrible, right? Like if you're with a person, why are you not talking?
Mhm.
This is your life partner.
Yeah.
And I've said this a long time ago, and I'll say it again, right? Like you can have fun, you can go out, you can play, but at the end of the day, at the end of your life, who are you going to sit on the porch swing with and have a conversation with? Because at some point, you're going to be too old. You're not going to be riding dirt bikes
Mhm.
or, I don't, out there.
Paddleboarding. Maybe we might be.
I think we
No,
will
okay.
be, for sure, for sure. But you're not going to be doing crazy things where honestly you don't need to communicate, right?
Mhm.
Like at some point, we're going to be hand in hand on the porch swing having a conversation.
And we had great conversation Like, even from day one, like, our conversation has been
Yeah.
phenomenal. Like, it's that connection, it's that feeling that I can actually talk to this person and feel heard. I can feel valued. I can feel like our conversations are meaningful. But that's the part of this communication tool that we've been using and getting to know each other better and just helping each other's lives out in so many ways. And our kids see it,
Yeah.
our family sees
Oh
it,
yeah.
everybody sees it. So
Absolutely.
our communication has been great. And
100%.
we continue to improve.
100%. I
So also let's fly into like other things. Our expectations. Are expectations different from our first marriage to, our relationship?
I think so.
Okay.
Absolutely, right? Like we set expectations directly from the get-go.
Hmm.
Obviously those things have changed,
Well, yeah.
but we change, the relationship changes
Hmm.
in the sense that it gets stronger. Our feelings grow deeper.
Hmm.
So yeah, we set expectations right up front and then they change over time. But that kind of goes back with really maintaining that individuality, right?
Hmm.
Like you're setting expectations of, hey, this is what I want in my life.
Yeah.
This is exactly what I'm looking for.
Hmm.
Can you meet that criteria?
Yeah.
Obviously, again, right? Like I know some people have like, oh, this person has to be this tall and this color eyes
Yeah.
and has to whatever. Like those are kind of unrealistic expectations. What
Those
we
are
need,
more outside expectations, like on how you want somebody to be or how you are
100%.
attracted to somebody. But expectations, personal expectations, that's where we set that standard for ourselves, for each other, like
Uh,
right off the bat.
Absolutely, right? Like good example, and this kind of ties right into what we were talking about earlier. But one of my expectations was if I get into a relationship again, I want to be with somebody who wants to go along on my ride.
Hmm.
I want to be with somebody who wants to go and do all these hobbies and have fun and try new things.
Yeah.
That certainly was an expectation. Why would I want to be with somebody who I want to try a whole bunch of different things
Hmm.
because that's just a stage I'm at in my life?
Yeah.
And then somebody who's like, "No, I don't wanna do that. You go have fun."
Hmm. And that's to me that's boring. I definitely want to do all the things and get out there. And my kids are older. Like, I'm definitely ready to be different in the things that I do daily. And you were the person that I'm like, okay, he wants these things and I want them too. I just don't know how to go about it. So you said that in like, let's do this, let's do that. So I'm like, okay, we're meeting each other there. We're meeting each other in the middle of our wants and our expectations,
Yeah,
of being fun.
100%. I mean, sometimes I get ahead of myself and I'm like, I got about 5 different hobbies I wanna try this weekend, but that's okay. Like, we're getting out there, we're having fun.
We have a list of hobbies for sure. All right. So next we'll talk about what we learned from, oh no, why the second relationship feels different. It felt good. Like we were just saying from the beginning. Everything just played together. It was cohesive. We were able to communicate, talk, and it wasn't, I don't know, like it wasn't pulling teeth, like to
Well,
talk to you. Like we just straight, right when we met each other, just talking all night.
it wasn't forced at all.
No.
And I think we both came into it in a really good place, right? Because after divorce, we both took time to really put in the work and heal, right? And that work involves sometimes sitting at home alone
Hmm.
without the kids, in pain, curled up on the couch. Other times that healing is maybe journaling or again going for the walk, but it's really doing that inner work at looking at yourself, right? And when we came together, we had both done that inner work almost on the same time frame, really, which was nice. But we came in as two whole people.
Hmm.
We weren't looking for our other half.
Yeah.
It was like, hey, this is me. I'm ready.
Hmm. I mean, it was hard at first. I can be like, was I ready? Was I not ready? I still had that conflicting because we were still healing. We're still finding ourselves. But absolutely, I was so ready to meet somebody that was me, but a different part of me. Like someone that was just intertwined with me. And we're definitely intertwined with me. We have compatibility. We're things in common.
Hmm.
And that's nice to talk to somebody that actually has common ground with you. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. You
'cause
think?
yeah, I remember not having any. Sometimes I'm like, okay, what are we doing together? I think I concentrated more on the physical with past relationships than with actual connection. And
Yeah. I mean, I think that's an honest thing, right? Especially when we're young, we're still trying to figure out ourselves and really what we want in life, right? But in a partner, especially when we're young, we might have a good idea,
hmm
but realistically, I think we're going after that physical attraction a little bit more than that mental compatibility,
hmm
because we definitely grow and get to know a lot more things as we get older. You mature, you go through more life experiences. And so coming around the second time around, we're definitely in a much better place.
oh, definitely. Like that part has definitely sailed, and new beginnings for us. We're doing pretty good together, just all around. I have no complaints. I have no.
Yeah, and I mean, going back to like you said from the beginning, you know, with our expectations and all those other things, from the beginning we were very open and honest with each other. It wasn't in a mean way
Yeah.
that both of us felt like, "Hey, I want to be with you, but I don't need you."
hmm
And again, not in a mean way,
No.
by no means, but it was just saying, I am a whole person. Like, I want to be with you. But so we weren't afraid to put things out there up front. Like, this is what I'm looking for, right? And we even talked about marriage.
Yeah.
We said,
Never, never again.
never again,
Never again. That
right?
was in no way in the cards. I was like, nope. I talk to my friends all day, be like, never again.
Yeah, yeah.
They're like, sure, sure, Marlene, never again. You say that now, and I'm like, no, never again. That's never happening.
Right? I'll just date her for a few years.
It just didn't. It wasn't something I saw myself doing again. Like I was like, okay, I can be with somebody and we can be together, we can grow together. But I saw it as I married somebody once, and I wasn't gonna do that whole process again. Like I just didn't feel strongly about marriage again. And here we are.
Yeah. And rightfully so, right? Like, we're in the beginning of a relationship.
Mhm.
Why are we gonna start talking about marriage?
Yeah.
So it's definitely setting that standard
Mhm.
for ourselves of just, hey, this is where I'm at.
Yeah.
Like, take it or leave it.
Well, too, we also knew or realized what we didn't want. We say that like failed marriage obviously brings about things that you don't want. Like, I don't want this, this, and this.
Solid point. Yeah.
So I'm going to expect this, this, and this from my next relationship. So winning those what you don't want out made things a lot easier. Like we set our standard with each other when we put out our expectations for sure.
100%. Right. And I think that's definitely the biggest misconception about remarriage is s- people don't set that standard right up front, right? They're not open. I think a lot of people start off any relationship in this, how can I show this person that I'm so amazing? How can I put my best foot forward, right? And that's not what it's all about. You have your honeymoon phase, but I think the honeymoon phase can last a lifetime
Yeah, definitely can.
by putting your entire self up front first.
Yeah.
Because I want to be with somebody who respects where I'm at in life, but also somebody who understands
Mhm.
where I'm at in life, right? And by me telling you everything, you still accept me.
Yeah. And vice versa. Like I'm like, oh my goodness, he's gonna think I'm just some whack job that just came out with all these standards from. But no, put standards for yourself. Like put yourself above. And we did that. We really did say
100%.
it from the first day.
Yeah, and honestly, I was never offended. I would never, definitely never thought you were a whack job.
Great. I love that. We all have our things about our own personal, either the way we do things or whatever. Those are just our standards for ourselves. That's how we are. And when I put myself out there, I was like, wow, what response am I going to get from this person?
Yeah.
And the response was, okay, that's fine. That's who you are. Okay.
But I also think that kind of goes back to the first relationship, right? We weren't fully accepted by
Mhm.
our last partners, which is crazy to think that after all these years of marriage, we're not accepted.
Yeah.
You
I
know?
definitely didn't feel accepted. Not at all. I always felt like I couldn't be my whole self. I was putting on a persona for years of what that person wanted me to be, that I was never who I wanted to be. And I felt like I was just taking care of somebody, like, and just being that person that that person wanted me to be. And that was excruciating.
Yeah. Yeah. It's miserable. And I think that really honestly ties in with going back to our very first point of maintaining your individuality, right? Like, if that person's not accepting you, and like you said, it's excruciating, you let go of the most important part of yourself. You forget who you were when you first got together. And again, that's what made that other person fall in love with you,
Mhm.
is who you were.
Yeah.
But it's definitely weird to think that that person would also want you to change into something
Mhm.
you're not,
Yeah.
right? So maybe that brings up, were we ever really accepted from the start?
Thinking back at it, no, absolutely not. Like 100% no. It was a facade,
Yeah,
you say. Definitely facade.
horrible.
Yeah.
But here we are now.
With our whole selves, silly, playful, funny. We're always laughing at each other. It's great.
Exactly. And we let each other be who we are.
Mhm.
I want you to show me 100% of who you are,
Mhm.
and I accept you.
And I accept you.
Happy. Well, now here we are at this point in our lives
Mm.
where now we're integrating
We are integrating.
lives more and more and more. So, how are we integrating our lives?
Well, okay. We just talked about like our children, right? I have older kids. You have younger kids. So that integration it was a challenge and it still is a challenge, right?
Hmm.
Your kids are little, things are a little bit more sensitive, things are a little bit more slower.
Right.
With minds, everything can go from 0 to 100, and it's because they're older, they're adults. Um, there's no creating little talks with them because they take everything in differently because they're adults. It's your kids are small, and we need to be sensitive about their feelings and what they need. So,
100%. And it's all communication, right? It's going back to talking about, how do you want to raise your kids?
mhm,
Hey, this situation came up. How should we handle it, right? But now it's not just one person doing all the work. Now we're coming together as a team, and how can we handle the situation but show these kids, all five of them,
yeah.
the amount of love that they all deserve, and come together and work together as a family. And that, I think, is super important in integrating our families, our lives. Really, one of the most important things that we've done so far is we read that book.
The first book that we read,
Well,
we read the first one about our families and integration, and then reading our second book talking about finances and integrating certain things in order to benefit our family.
yeah, the book by David Bach, Smart Couples Finish Rich. In there, there's a section that talks about having a money date. And for us, that was huge. That really was huge. We sat down and we went through all the nitty gritty.
Hmm.
And one thing the book talks about, and it's so true, is couples don't talk about their finances. They just jump into the relationship,
Hmm.
and sometimes you can get married and they still have not talked about
Yeah.
finances, right? Like, who's going to handle what?
Yeah.
Or maybe you've already disclosed how much money you make. I don't know. But right, like, a money date is where we went and we said, all right, this is how much I make. This is exactly what I spend all my money on, line by line. This is how much debt I have. This is my credit score. This is just where I'm at. I mean, we opened up. That was so vulnerable for both of us.
Absolutely. We're very vulnerable.
Oh man. But it was so powerful because literally right after we got to see patterns.
Mhm.
We got to see areas of improvement. And instead of saying, oh, you have this or oh, you have that, it was like, okay, our monthly expenses together are X amount of dollars. How can we cover all these bills?
Mhm.
And some of them, like we're doing right now, is
Yeah.
how can we cut these bills,
Yeah.
right? And so we're finding ways to cut them, finding ways to integrate everything together. But honestly, if you guys get a chance, set up a money date, email us. I can even send you a template, and then have that. Be open, be honest. You will find how powerful it is in your relationship, especially before you get married, right? You're setting that
Yeah.
expectation of who's paying the bills, what needs to be covered.
Yeah. Putting that all out there. Yeah. You definitely want to know about each other and how you can support each other in different ways and support each other financially, bringing things together. And that book really brings out a lot of good points. And having that money date was phenomenal for us. It may have been sort of embarrassing, um, brought out things that, I mean, I didn't even know how much money I was spending on things. And I'm like, wow, this is embarrassing. This is where is all of it going? But then with that no judgment that we don't give each other, right? We're completely, open. I didn't feel like you were judging me at all. Like, oh, let's see how we can work this out. Let's see how we can come together and save each other money because at some point we're going to come together in the same home, in the same lives. And if we start doing that now, it makes it a lot easier to have that adjustment when we do that.
100%. 100%. And again, right, like I think that's something that just a lot of couples don't
Mhm.
do right off the bat. So it's definitely important.
Yeah, I never did it. Never talked about money. It was never something that we sat around and said, hey, let's talk about our money today, or let's talk about what we spend or how we can save money. No, absolutely not.
And honestly, I think that's another good point is having that money conversation in front of and with the kids,
Mhm.
right? Because we're here to teach our kids about money.
Yeah.
We're here to teach them how to manage their finances, how to grow their money. The idea is to leave a legacy, right?
Yeah.
And part of that legacy is education.
Because obviously they don't teach you money in school. They don't teach you the important things about life in school,
No, not at
things you'll
all.
never use. So let's be parents and let's be those examples for our kids to set them up for success.
Percent. Absolutely.
Well, guys, we come to the end of our show. Thank you for listening. Please comment, subscribe. Next week, we will be talking about communication, triggers, how to avoid shutting down, and conflict rules. So, thank you for listening.
Bye.